I'm going to demonstrate two things that most Christians would never realize nor accept. So, when talking about the Noah story, my man here, Ray, who, thank you, Ray, for being on my live the other day. My man here, Ray, he wants to quote Matthew 24, 37, 38, and 39, where in it talks about as the coming of man, as the coming of the Son of Man, it would be just like in the days of Noah, where people were eating and drinking and being merry, and then the flood came upon them and washed them out. And that's going to be the same way when Jesus come back. Here's the thing that irks me and that people don't really think about. You have writers of this Matthew version here who are writing at a time frame where they already knew the Noah story, right? Now, if they already knew the Noah story, then they would not have said that the people were eating and drinking and being merry, because there's absolutely nothing in the Noah story in Genesis 5 that tells you that the people were eating and drinking and being merry. But in order to make the story better, they have a tendency to add their own thought processes, their artistic licenses into the story and make it seem like this is what the people were doing, that they were eating and drinking and being merry and weren't paying attention to this God or what Noah was doing or anything of the sort. It's in the same way that the video I published of the young girl, when she was talking about the fact that we have this mindset now that people were chastising Noah, that Noah was being chastised by the people. Hey man, what you doing? Why you building a boat all up in the mountains? Where you get all these animals from? Oh, crazy Noah talking about it's gonna rain. No, you've been watching too many movies. You've been listening to too many sermons. That never happened. That is not in your book at all. And then anything about Noah going around telling people, repent, repent, repent. The time of the Lord is coming. Like in the movie with Gerard Butler. Repent, repent. The Lord is sending down a deluge of rain and he's going to wipe everybody out. You better repent. Noah already knew and was already told that only he and his family were going to survive this. So why would he go around trying to go against what this God had already decided what was going to be? Now, let me tell you something else that you can think about this story. Now, this is another popular notion when it comes to this Bible, and especially stories like this flood story or any other time, when we talk about the fact that this deity genocides children, right? Killing kids. Whether we are talking about the Noah story or we're talking about when they go in and they genocide a city and kill all the young men and all the baby boys and the old men and the young and the women who've known a man, and take the young women for their wives, the one who's not known a man. Anytime there is genocide, this is a Christian's solution. Now, I'm not saying that this is this how detrimental this is to this person in particular, but they ask, were those women and children innocent? Because what we were talking about in that one was the fact that in the Daniel story, the priests who went against Daniel and had a law made against Daniel, and then Daniel goes into the lion's den, and then after those priests are found to be guilty, this Persian king, Darius, then throws the priests in with the lions, but also throws in their wives and their children to also be massacred by these lions as punishment for what the father did. These children are only following whatever their parents. Takes a young child, a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, into a temple of whatever their religion is. Whether at this time frame they was worshiping, since it was Darius Persian, more than likely Ahura Mazda, being Zoroastrian, or whether it was Baal or Marduk or any other deity. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old does not have within them the judgment nor the ability to be able to tell their parents, no, this is wrong. This is not what we should be doing. So were they innocent? Yes. Yes, the children are innocent. Is the wife innocent? Yes, the wife is at home. She's minding her own business. She's taking care of the family. She doesn't know that her husband is doing these things. So why is the wife punished? Those women who were carrying babies, or those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year olds who were just living on the earth, minding their own business, doing whatever it is that their culture dictates, all of a sudden they're washed away in this flood. Most of them around the world never even hearing about your God, but yet they were brutally drowned by this deity. So yes, they were innocent, but this evil, maniacal deity, this genocidal, bloodlusting deity, decides that he's going to kill everybody. And I understand, you say you don't understand everything about it. Obviously killing is wrong, but to God, worshiping other God is wrong. So that equals death to these people who never heard of this deity, people who were raised in a different religion and been raised since birth, and as far as they're concerned, all of their experiences add up to the divinity of that deity. Those people, they've never heard of your God. So how are they wrong when they've never heard of it? It is a funny thing how people get caught up in religions, but they cannot look beyond the scope of what they have learned in their small circle of life. And that's how they evaluate history and everywhere else in the world. You have people in countries who've never heard of these deities, and yet they're going to be punished because of these deities. That is obscene and absurd. And I wouldn't even want to deal with a deity or worship a deity or be with a deity, live in heaven with a deity that is that jacked up. And then you said, although the further our country gets from God's laws, the closer we are to reaping the benefits of our sin as a nation. Well, let me ask you a question. Does that same thing go for all the countries like the Saudi Arabias, the United Arab Emirates, the Qatars, the Indias, the Chinas, the countries that never had these laws, but they're thriving countries? They've never been in these laws. And as far as America is concerned, which shows the narrowness that you're looking at this situation, as far as America is concerned, you're talking about a country that was formed on the backs of pillaging, slavery, taking of land, murdering and genociding of indigenous people. Are those the laws that you were talking about? Because your Old Testament does say go in and genocide people. It does say go in and make slaves of foreigners and pass them on as property in perpetuity. Don't beat them to death as long as they can rise within. They live beyond 2 days, then you're okay. So are you talking about those laws? Are you talking about all the animal sacrifice laws? Are you talking about the keeping the Sabbath laws? What laws are we talking about here of the Bible that we're talking about? We're talking about not wearing 2 different types of linen laws? I really need to understand what laws. Not sitting on the same furniture as a woman who's in her cycle because she's now considered unclean laws. Not touching anything that a woman who has just given birth for 8 days, that she's unclean for 8 days, those laws? Like what actual laws? The stoning of homosexuals, that law, those laws that we're getting farther away from? The stoning of women who commit adultery, those laws? The stoning of someone who works on the Sabbath, those laws? Maybe those laws. Maybe that's the law you're talking about. I'm not sure what laws you're talking about. So please clarify, what laws are we speaking of here? Because there are plenty of laws in there. Plenty of laws. I mean, we should have leper colonies. So anybody that has a plague or a disease, they should be put into these colonies. And until the priest, not the doctor, the priest says that they're now unclean, they shouldn't be allowed back into the community. Those laws. Putting people in concentration camps. Those laws. We need those laws back. I mean, help me understand what laws we're talking about here. Because most of the time when people say that, they really are just talking about the laws that you have within your nation that's based on your own culture and so on and so forth. And oftentimes those are clouded with separatism in the mindset of one class is to oppress the other class. So you got to clarify what laws you're talking about, because if this country reverted back to those laws, well, I'm getting the hell on.